Hello, dear viewers. Namaskar. Welcome to Moksha Media. You are with Moksha Hiremat. So many Sharanas have devoted their life for the upliftment of society and for the advancement of the society. They tried their best to extract the nobility in the life of a man. They showed the spirituality in him and they tried their best to extract that spirituality, and by that they tried their best to eliminate the social evils. That is why the Sharanas, that is the devotees of Shiva, become very important in knowing and understanding the development of society and in getting rid of the social problems to a great extent. The Sharana Kadasiddheshwara is one of them. Most of you may not have heard the name of the Sharana Kadasiddheshwara, but the common people in North Karnataka, of Karnataka in India, know something about Kadasiddheshwara. Most of them have heard the name of Kadasiddheshwara in North Karnataka particularly and Karnataka in general. Kadasiddheshwara was a Sharana. He was belonged to the 18th century of Common Era. Most of us think that when someone talks of Sharana, he might be belonged to 12th century. Of course, in 12th century, the streams of Sharanas have been emerged, but that stream has led to the appearance of other streams in the society. That is why we could see the presence of Sharanas and the composition of Vachanas after that Sharana movement in the 12th century of Karnataka in India. And Kadasiddheshwara, being a Sharana, composed so many Vachanas. Till 1735 of Common Era, nothing is known regarding Kadasiddheshwara. A reference is made in the book Kuvalayananda, written by Jayappa Desai in 1935. There he referred to the work Virashaiva Shatasthala by Kadasiddheshwara Sharana. There, Sharana Kadasiddheshwara composed 500 Vachanas, and he based his Vachanas on Virashaiva Shatasthala. So, from then onwards, we come to know something about that Kadasiddheshwara. Kadasiddheshwara was belonged to Siddha sect. And you are not the first and the last one of the Siddha sect. He was belonged to the Revana Siddha sect, and which is continued in Siddharama and other Siddhas. Of course, that Siddha sect can be seen even today in India here and there. This Kadasiddheshwara belonged to Siddha sect, so he built a mutt in Siddhagiri near Kollapura in the state of Maharashtra in India. Kadasiddheshwara temple is built on the top of the hill of Siddhagiri. That Siddhagiri hill is famous for its medicinal plants and for spirituality. We can see the presence of that Siddhagiri hill since probably 6th or 7th century of Common Era. The mutt existed on the hill of Siddhagiri hill is called as Kadasiddheshwara mutt. The branches of Kadasiddheshwara mutts have been seen in the state of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. But they can be seen in northern Karnataka more in number. Kadasiddheshwara was a different type of Sharana. He commanded the honor of the Rajas, the kings at that time. The Bijapur king Adil Shahi honored him. And he honored him and he gave a scope to the development of Siddha Parampara in that area. Kadasiddheshwara not only wrote vachanas in Kannada, but in the language of Urdu. That is the speciality of Kadasiddheshwara. Kadasiddheshwara was the Pitadipati of a mutt. Generally, Pitadipatis, that is the head of the must, had not composed vachanas till Tontada Siddhalingeshwara Sharana. For the first time, Siddhalingeshwara mutt head, Tontada Siddhalingeshwara, composed vachanas, and from that time onwards, the heads of the mutt started to compose vachanas. And Kadasiddheshwara is not exception to this. Being a head of the mutt, being a Sharana, developed the mutt, built the Kadasiddheshwara temple on the Siddhagiri hills, uplifted the life of the society, showed the people the way for spirituality, etc., etc., expressed his opinions and feelings and way to spirituality in his vachanas. It is said that nearly 500 vachanas are composed. But most of the vachanas based on Shatasthala concept of Veerashaivism. So, when we go through those vachanas, the Shatasthala Siddhanta can be felt. That Shatasthala Siddhanta is presented, the way for spirituality, the way for salvation, the way for going beyond the vicious circle of birth and rebirth. Of course, Kadasiddheshwara Sharana composed vachanas which could be understood by the common people. These vachanas are different. Here and there, they showed the profession of the persons. And the most interesting is this, that he composed vachanas in the language of Urdu. For the first time in the history of Karnataka, India, the vachanas were composed in the language of Urdu. It was possible for Kadasiddheshwara to compose vachanas in the language of Urdu because kings like Adil Shahi of Bijapur supported and honored Kadasiddheshwara Sharana. Kadasiddheshwara Sharana mentioned the name of 21 devotees of Shiva. He referred to the Sharanas of the 12th century, but not only the 12th century, but to the 16th, 17th and 18th centuries also. He used the profession the Sharanas followed at that time. And most interesting fact that he mentioned the name of Pinjara Muhammad Kanaya and Ulli Piranna. For the first time, as we find till this day, the names of Sharanas belong to other religion which is not originated in India has been seen in the vachanas of Kadasiddheshwara. Of course, some of the vachanas are esoteric. Here, I quote 3 of the vachanas of Kadasiddheshwara Sharana. A linga for the husband, a linga for the wife, a linga for the children, a linga for friends and well-wishers, a linga for friends and well-wishers. If the four lingas, shackles of birth and rebirth cannot be broken. If the four lingas, shackles of birth and rebirth cannot be broken. If all 4 had one linga, shackles of birth and rebirth would break. See Kadinolagada Shankara Priya Channa Kadambalinga Nirmaya Prabhuve. Kadasiddheshwara Sharana used his signature as Kadinolagada Shankara Priya Channa Kadambalinga Nirmaya Prabhuve. Of course, every Sharana used his or her own signature. Kadasiddheshwara Sharana is not an exception to this. Of course, everyone has a Ishtalinga, that is, husband, wife, children and friends. But if they don't understand the inner kernel of the linga, the shackles of the life cannot be broken. That is, by having different lingas in different persons cannot lead to the union with God. To be unioned with God is very important. To be unioned with Shiva is very important. If our linga, if our Ishtalinga does not lead to the union of Shiva, then what is the use of such thing? What is the use of wearing each one that Ishtalinga? But when this Ishtalinga leads us to the union of Shiva, then only it becomes very important. Then only it becomes very meaningful. So here, Kadasiddheshwara Sharana gives a new approach to the Ishtalinga and Ishtalinga owned by different people. Then in another Vachana, like the sun in water, the treasure in the earth, the fire in the wood, the fragrance in a flower, the ghee in a milk are you, Kadinolagada Shankarapriya Channa Kadambalinga Nirmaya Prabhuve. Of course, here Sharana is like one. He is like a sun. You can see the sun in the water, but you cannot hold the sun. Your eyes can catch the image of sun. So, a person can catch the image of Sharana in his appearance. We know there is a treasure in the earth. That treasure may be Panchabhutas, maybe metals, maybe other things. We can see the fire in the wood, and you can feel the fragrance in a flower. Flower cannot be separated from the fragrance, and fragrance cannot be separated from the power. And there is a ghee in the milk, and milk in the ghee. So ghee and milk cannot be separated. So like that Shiva is one. He is separate, he is one. He cannot be separated at the same time. So when you union with God, then only you will become a God yourself. You will become a Shiva yourself. That is what that Kadinolagada Shankarapriya Channa Kadambalinga Nirmaya Prabhuve. So only Sharanas can be unioned with God, can be unioned with Shiva because of their objectives, because of their work, because of their mind and heart, because of their efforts, etc., because of their concept, etc., etc. Like the brilliance of rays of sun, moon, and a million rubies, like the luster of moonlight, like the flash of lightning, is the stance of one in union with Linga. Kadinolagada Shankarapriya Channa Kadambalinga Nirmaya Prabhu. So, we can see the presence of Linga in the rays. Rays are brilliant. That is, the sun rays are brilliant. Moon rays are soft and pleasurable. They are like a million rubies. Of course, we can see the flash of the lightning. So, we can see all these things in union with the Linga. If we concentrate on linga, if we be linga, we can have all these things. We can have and have not. When you do not concentrate on linga, you cannot have. When you concentrate and be union with Shiva, then you can have all these things. You are just like a rays of sun. You are just like a moonlight. You are just like a flash of lightning, etc., etc. Here, having Ishtalinga, I trying to be union with Shiva is very important. And of course, having Ishtalinga is the first step. And then if we follow the Ashtavarna, Panchachara and Shatasthala, one can be unioned with Shiva. That is what Kadasiddheshwara Sharana shown in his vachanas. Of course, even today, we can have these Kadasiddheshwara mutts here and there. Even today, the influence of Kadasiddheshwara Sharana can be seen and felt in the states of Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Of course, we only come to know that he is in the 18th century. As usual, we don't know the names of his parents. It is common in case of Sharanas. They simply say they are the children of God. And they say their guru is such and such a one. And here, the guru of Kadasiddheshwara Sharana was Sangameshwara Deva. Of course, he was belonged to Guru Parampare and he remembered all his preceptors. That is why he said something about that gurus but not the parents. Due to the social inequality at that time, due to the concept of birth and etc., the Sharanas in those periods had not referred to their parents very clearly. If they referred it, they referred to the Sharanas as their parents. They referred to the profession of Sharanas as their parents. So anyhow, here Kadasiddheshwara Sharana uplifted the common people. He uplifted the society and he led the common people towards spirituality. Even today, that Kadasiddheshwara Mutt on Siddhagiri Hills is famous for its social work, for its organic agriculture, for its training, for its spiritual agriculture and etc., etc. That means the tradition of Kadasiddheshwara Swamiji, Kadasiddheshwara Sharana, is being followed. It shows to what extent Kadasiddheshwara Sharana has influenced the society and other Sharanas. Dear viewers, share and subscribe and see you in the next episode. Thank you. Namaskar.